Fox 19 Storm Tracker forecast for meteorologist Frank Marzullo. You got sunshine and warmer conditions this afternoon, high around 47. Partly cloudy tonight, a low near 36. 29 now at the big one. All of the emails I got, and I got plenty last night. Plenty of people saying, right on, Doc, you're absolutely right about the union. And even more from the planned union protesters. The union's getting together and saying, email Doc and tell him how wrong he is. Those poured in, and I responded to most of them. And still, none of them can tell me why you need collective bargaining. How it benefits the public, for public workers' unions, to have collective bargaining instead of just bargaining on your own, negotiating on your own behalf. How does it benefit the public? Nobody. I had multiple union reps on yesterday, multiple union members. Not one can tell me how it benefits the public for public union employees or union members that happen to be public employees to have collective bargaining. How does that benefit the public? Not one. Now, there is a protest today by the people who are saying, yeah, we need to get rid of collective bargaining. I think it would be better if those cops and firefighters and teachers got paid on their own merits. If you're doing a good job, I want to pay you and I want to pay you well. But if you're not doing a good job, you got to go. And down the road, future contracts, we can't be locked into special deals because you're part of a union. Special deals like I think we need to address the whole public retirement system. How come you're not part of Social Security? Yeah, the state public employees retirement system. How come you're not part of the Social Security program if it's such a good idea, if it's such a good plan? Let's bring it together. Now, there's a protest 2:30 today at the State House, and also one 10 a.m. as they continue hearings on Thursday. I got a couple of emails from people. Yeah, we'll have somebody live from the protest on Thursday, but I get a couple of emails from people talking about heading up there, saying that there are multiple unions because, you know, unions support unions blindly. And we all know the reality. We all understand that unions prop up bad employees. They retire earlier with the public retirement plan, and they're protected. Some of these unions are actually paying for people to go and stay in Columbus. I assume they're paying with them out of union funds. One email said that he knows somebody that is going to be part of an SEIU protest, that SEIU is paying for hotel rooms to protest. And they were really excited because they get to go to Columbus and get the free stay at the hotel. You have money to put people up in a hotel to protest, but yet you need more money, a better system. You need to continue to prop up the unions. Not about how's that public safety? How's that helping kids? Fact is, it's not. By the way, last week, the governor of Wisconsin, he laid out a budget. He has an emergency budget proposal in Wisconsin because Wisconsin, like Ohio and a lot of other states, have a huge budget deficit. Theirs is only $3.6 billion. It's not $8 to $10 billion like in Ohio. But they have a $3.6 billion budget hole. He had to come up with an emergency budget proposal, and one of the things that he proposed is ending collective bargaining rights for state workers for future contracts. Much like Senate Bill 5 here, it's for future contracts. We'll honor the current ones, but future ones, we've got to do something else. He had to notify the National Guard out of fears that protests could get unruly. He had to notify the National Guard of Wisconsin because union leaders expressed anger over ending collective bargaining there. Take some of your calls. Tell you more union hypocrisy coming up next on 700 WLW. Bill Cunningham on the air at noon right here on 700 WLW. Coming up at 12:06. Still awaiting the verdict from the Ryan Widmer trial. Bill Reinhardt's going to join him with the latest. 12:06 right here on 700 WLW. Of course, if we have any information that comes down the pike, we'll get it to you ASAP in the Ryan Widmer trial. President's supposed to speak probably on the budget just after 11 o'clock today, 11 o'clock this morning. And we'll talk about the budget in just a minute because he's promoting it like he's cutting a whole lot of stuff, and really it's smoke and mirrors. There is nothing cut, and it could increase the national debt over 10 years by over $10 trillion. We're at $14 trillion now. We'll get to that in a minute. Get to a couple quick calls on the unions, then I got to share with you a union story out of Washington. Jeff, Oxford, you're on 700 WLW.
Hey, Doc, how's it going today?
How you doing, sir?
All right. Hey, I work in people's homes, and I find, how do you judge a teacher when the parents will not push education?
Well, you judge them like we all get judged. Partially by their bosses. Their bosses have to review them.
I know from working in homes that, there's time, and if the parents get stumped trying to help the kid, there's heck to pay I've seen in some cases. The parents just go off.
Listen, there
because of their own belligerence.
Well, there are a lot of variables when it comes to education and rating teachers. So we can't just rate them on test scores. We can't just rate them on graduation rates. We understand that there are parents who aren't doing what they're supposed to. Some kids are from very bad home life, so of course that's going to affect their ability to learn and test scores and everything else. We factor as many of these things as possible. We come up with a model and a system, and at least part of that, and probably most of it, is going to come down to their supervisors, just like the rest of us in the private sector. How do we base performance in other areas? Yeah, some it's a little easier. If you say, all right, I'm a quarterback for the Bengals, how'd you do? What are your statistics like? Some it's a little easier. But there's plenty of us that have jobs out there that our job performances are based on evaluations from our supervisors. Some of that's going to be part of it. So we need to make sure that the supervisor, the administrators in public schools are actually competent doing the right job. Denny in Coleraine, you're on 700 WLW.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, I'm on a public employee retirement system, and I was never able to belong to a union. I got none of those benefits, nor will I get them in the future. There's thousands of people on these that are not union members and do not get these extreme benefits, period.
Well, we've got two things. First of all, you've got the unions, and that retirement system shouldn't exist.
Well, I got to disagree with you on the retirement system. What I paid into it is what I'm getting out of it.
No. I'm Denny. I'm not saying that the rug should be pulled out from underneath you. Of course, you paid into it. Of course, they've got onto their contract. I have no problem with that. But it should have never existed in the first place. It shouldn't be separate.
Well, Social Security should not have been drained either, but things happen.
Well, no, I understand that, but you have to admit it's ridiculous to say we have two standards instead of just one. Why would it just be?
Not really, because that's why I took the job. At that time, we got paid 20 to 30% less than people in our field in business. What's caused all these averages?
Wait a minute, Denny.
Wait a minute. What's caused all these averages to go up are these top administration pay.
Denny, I want to ask you a question. You said that's the reason you took it. You took it because you made 20 to 30% less?
With the benefits made up for that. I got a good retirement system instead of nothing.
Denny, why would you want a special system? Why do some people get a special system?
Because it exists. Because it's there. If you want to take it all away and you think you can do that, well, then that's fine.
Denny, no, I'm not saying now. Of course it exists, and of course you paid into it, and of course anybody who goes to work for the public sector, that's the choice you have. You only have one. Why was it started in the first place? Why isn't it just Social Security? Okay,
well, I wasn't there. I didn't do that. But, why do we want to tear it down? One reason is that some people are jealous of what you get because people aren't getting with that. I'm not making big money compared to what I made then. I'm living, but I'm not going to be destitute. That's what I put into
Denny,
it.
I'm really not sure you're getting the point, or if you just want to defend what you've had. No, hold on a second.
I get your point.
No, I've said your contract should be honored. You paid into that.
Yes.
I'm saying the system is flawed to begin with. There is no reason to have two systems. One of them obviously isn't going to be as good as the other. Why would you have two? Why would you set yourself up in a special class because you're a public employee? Essentially, you're getting taxpayers' dollars twice because we pay your salary. And then, of course, we have dollars that come as part of or that goes into your retirement. If it's a better system, why wouldn't we all be on it and get rid of Social Security? Why wouldn't we get rid of it and you be on Social Security? This is all part of the puzzle. Washington. The Mid-Atlantic Regional Council of Carpenters last July was picketing the McPherson building. Now, this is an office complex where the council said work was being done with non-union labor. So they, as the Mid-Atlantic Regional Council of Carpenters, they said they're going to picket the McPherson building. And they did. They had picketers out there, about 50 or so of them, for hours. They were marching back and forth. Low pay, go away. That was one of the things they were chanting. That rat gotta go. That was something else they were chanting. Back and forth in front of the McPherson building. People representing the union, chanting those things in front of the McPherson building on behalf of the Mid-Atlantic Regional Council of Carpenters. Because the Mid-Atlantic Regional Council of Carpenters knows that if union labor is happening in that building, they got to get in there. You can't hire non-union employees. You got to use union work. So they challenged the people at the McPherson building. Except the Mid-Atlantic Regional Council of Carpenters hired non-union picketers. Is that just a bit hypocritical to you? They hired non-union workers to represent the union, and they paid them very well. They paid them minimum wage. Why didn't you hire them at your union wage? How come they didn't pay them full union wage for a carpenter? No, it doesn't even have to be a journeyman. Why didn't you pay him it? Or why didn't you pay him what? Why didn't you have the union workers, the union employees? Why didn't you have them out there? Well, according to Vincent Garcia, he's a union rep who supervised the picketing last summer. He said for a lot of our members, it's really difficult to have them come out either because of parking or something else. You know, they can't find parking. The people they hired, that's not a problem to find parking. You know, but for the union, they can't come down here. All right, so they couldn't come down there. Why didn't you pay them full wage? Because it comes out of the coffers for the union. Who pays those union dues? The union members. So those union employees who are so passionate and support the unions because it's an ideology. They believe in this greater good of unions. They screwed the people that were working for them. Those people got minimum wage. For hours, up and down, chanting. California, there's a similar situation last summer. There was one union group that offered people just over minimum wage to do the same thing, to demonstrate, even though they weren't union members. Just a little bit hypocritical, isn't it? You know what I think? This is what I think I'm going to do. Because this happened multiple times last summer during the best strike season, of course, the warmer weather. I think on the chance that you could see some people, some unions hiring non-union workers to picket, I'm going to start a picketers union. I think I'm going to start a picket. Somebody's got to protect those people from getting screwed by the unions. So I want a union of picketers. It would be specifically for picketers who are being employed by unions, though. So it would be the union of picketers that are hired by unions. That's what I'm going to do. Well, no, they're out there in the hot sun marching back and forth. You know, they're out there doing a job. So I think they need a little protection there. The union of picketers that are employed by unions. I think that's the way to go. Shouldn't they be protected as well? And surely any of you union members should support that, right? Support a picketers union. So instead of minimum wage, they would make 3-4 times that amount, have a retirement, benefits, limited picketing hours. No, you'd get to picket like maybe, 45 minutes, then you'd get 10 minutes off, something like that, an hour. Then you'd have an hour for lunch, something like that. No more picketing than, 8 hours a day. If it went over that, of course, you got to get 3 times as much. All of these things. It's the union of picketers who are employed by unions. Doc Thompson, 700 WLW. The Doc Thompson Picketers Union. But, of course, just for picketers that are picketing on behalf of unions. I think that makes perfect sense. Scott Delhi, you're on 700 WLW.
Hey, Doc. I think it's a little unfair to compare the private sector with public unions, especially teachers' unions, because the systems are set up differently. Well, I'll give you one example. The teaching profession is as opposed to the public sector or the private sector, where innovation and creativity most of the time breeds success. Mm-hmm. Innovation and creativity as a teacher usually brings the opposite. It brings castigation and suppression of those ideas. The system itself is set up.
Based on what, Scott?
Well,
give me an example.
Based on this. Now, if you've ever been near a classroom in the last 10 years, they don't want you teaching and coming up with new ways to teach. That comes from the state. That comes from the school board. You were only there to teach to these kids what they tell you to teach. An example, my wife's a teacher, and she now what they have is that every school in her district, okay, the teachers who are teaching the same subjects, they're supposed to be on the same topic every day. Okay, they can't waver from that. They need to all be teaching the same thing, even if one school has some. When this happens, often all the kids are taken out of class to do some special event or whatever. They cannot waver from the curriculum in any way. So there's no opportunity for teachers to show that they are better than other teachers because they're forced to teach only what they're given, and that suppresses their ability to for the better ones to come forward.
So all teachers are the same then?
All teachers are treated the same. They are not given the opportunity.
No. Their performance is going to be the same.
Their performance may differ slightly, but not enough, because if you look in the private sector, the ones that rise to the top.
So wait, hang on a second, Scott. I want to understand. So you're saying that there is only slight differences between the best and the worst teachers in America?
What I'm saying is, now don't put words in my mouth.
No, you said that they cannot and they must teach exactly the same thing. Yeah. They are regimented, and that was your excuse, your reason for saying that they need to be treated differently than the private sector. Now, well, if they're all teaching the exact same thing, Scott, and acting the same way, and there's no way to judge them differently, then you're saying every teacher is the same.
I'm saying that every teacher is now being forced to teach the same, and they are not allowed to use their own.
Well, of course, that's what I mean. I'm not saying that they're all exactly the same, but based on what's going on in schools right now, you're saying all teachers, every teacher, we're getting the exact same output and performance from them.
No, I'm saying that the amount of variation is not going to be as great, because the ones that could really innovate and teach well are not allowed to do that.
Well, right. So the output we're getting, the outcome we're getting from teachers is the same.
Not the same,
but very close.
Yes.
Okay, very close. So the bad teachers out there are basically on par with the good teachers.
No, you're holding the good teachers down, and so they're not on par. Their abilities are not on par.
No, not their abilities. The outcome, what we're getting as parents.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Just wanted to make sure. Would you say that's the case? Those of you that have kids in school, those of you that are teachers, would you say that teachers are virtually the same as far as the outcome, the performance we're getting from them? Based on some of the really bad teachers I've seen? I sure hope not. Based on Stacy Schuler, I sure hope all teachers aren't the same. No, there are very good teachers out there that are performing as such, and we're getting a much greater performance out of them. They are doing more. I don't buy I understand that curriculums are basically the same, but there's a lot of creative ways within that curriculum to teach. I would say if I was a teacher right now and heard that, I'd be pretty offended by that. It's Doc Thompson, 700 W. Okay, the president's budget is out, and it's a whole lot of smoke and mirrors. There's a whole lot of politics going on here. The president, on one hand, is talking about cutting because he's very concerned with the deficit. The national debt's way too high. So he says that he's actually going to cut over $1 trillion over the next 10 years. That doesn't have a lot to do with the national debt. That is the deficits, the yearly deficits. He would raise taxes on some people, groups, and products, procedures by essentially $2 trillion, and then cut from some agencies to the tune of $1 trillion. That's how he funds it. That's how he gets the savings. Or excuse me, increases to the tune of $1 trillion in some spending in some agencies. So essentially, he gets a $1 trillion seemingly deficit plugger. There are some things you need to know about his budget proposal. It ignores anything that the Deficit Commission said needs to happen in order to take care of our national debt. There's no substantive proposal for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. The deficit in 2011, we're on track for over $1.6 trillion. It wouldn't do anything about that. And over the next 10 years, the national debt, forget what he says about the yearly deficits, the national debt would go up by as much as $9 trillion. His own numbers say $7 trillion. The Congressional Budget Office say as much as $9 trillion. We could be notably over $20 trillion in a national debt in the next 10 years with his budget proposal. This is politics. He's waiting for the Republicans to come back with theirs. Theirs is going to be more substantial than his, albeit only slightly. And then he will say, once again, the marketing tool, he will use it that's been effective for many, many years, decades. The Republicans just want to starve people and kill old people and children. That's what he'll do. And it's all so he can get elected in a couple of years. Doc Thompson, home of the Reds, 700 WLW.